Discipline over motivation. Why consistency wins every time. The biggest lie most people live by is that they need to feel good before they take action. They wait to be motivated, to be inspired, to be in the mood. But the truth is, success doesn't care about your feelings. It responds to your consistency. Motivation might get you started, but discipline is what keeps you going when the feeling fades. The people who rise to greatness aren't the ones who always feel like it. They're the ones who show up when they don't. They're the ones who keep moving when their emotions tell them to quit. Because greatness is built in the moments when you act out of commitment, not comfort. Every day you have a choice to be ruled by your emotions or to be guided by your principles. And the difference between where you are and where you want to be is how often you choose principle over emotion. Your emotions will lie to you. They'll tell you that you're tired when you're not. They'll tell you that it's not working when you're making progress. They'll convince you that comfort is safer than commitment. But discipline is truth. Discipline is the voice that says, do it anyway. Discipline is the muscle that grows stronger every time you push through resistance. Discipline is the foundation upon which every lasting success is built. You see, motivation is a spark, but discipline is the fire that keeps burning long after the spark fades. Motivation says, I'll do it when I feel like it. Discipline says, I'll do it because I said I would. Motivation is emotional. Discipline is spiritual. Motivation is short-term. Discipline builds legacy. If you keep waiting for the right mood, the right day, or the right opportunity, you'll spend your life waiting. But if you learn to master yourself, to act regardless of how you feel, then no setback, no distraction, no excuse can stop you from becoming everything you were created to be. When you look at people who have achieved something extraordinary, it's not that they were born with more talent, more connections, or more resources. It's that they decided to be consistent long enough to compound results. They did what others weren't willing to do, not once, but every day. Success is never the result of one massive effort. It's the outcome of small, disciplined actions repeated over time. The world sees the results, but it doesn't see the repetition. It doesn't see the mornings when no one clapped, the nights when no one noticed, the seasons of silence when faith was the only fuel. That's the price of consistency. And most people never pay it because they keep waiting for motivation instead of building discipline. You cannot expect divine reward with human inconsistency. You cannot pray for abundance while practicing procrastination. You can't keep saying you want transformation while refusing the discipline it demands. If your dream is truly from God, it will test your commitment. It will require you to keep showing up when it's hard, when it's inconvenient, when it's lonely. It will demand that you act like the person you want to become, even before you see the results. That's what it means to walk by faith. Faith is not just believing God will do it, it's behaving like it's already done. And consistency is the proof of faith in motion. Every day you delay discipline, you strengthen your excuses. Every time you give in to comfort, you weaken your character. Consistency is not built in comfort, it's built in conflict. It's built in the struggle between who you are and who you're becoming. That's why the greatest battle you'll ever fight is not against circumstances or people, it's against yourself. The lazy version of you, the distracted version of you, the fearful version of you, they all have to die for the disciplined version of you to live. And that death doesn't happen once, it happens daily. Every morning you must choose discipline again. Every day you must recommit to your purpose, your standards, your growth. Discipline is not punishment, it's preparation. It's God's way of building the strength to handle what you've been praying for. Because success without discipline becomes destruction. If you can't manage consistency at this level, you won't sustain the blessing at the next. The process you resist is the process that would have prepared you. Every act of consistency, every moment of self-control, every time you show up when no one's watching, you're building capacity. You're becoming stronger, sharper, more stable. Discipline is not about doing more, it's about becoming more. The truth is, your life right now is a reflection of your consistency. If you're inconsistent in your focus, you'll have scattered results. If you're consistent in excuses, you'll live in mediocrity. But if you become consistent in your growth, your excellence, your vision, you'll begin to see compounding rewards. Consistency doesn't make things easier, it makes you stronger. It transforms ordinary actions into extraordinary results. It turns potential into power. It takes dreams out of your imagination and places them in your reality. Discipline requires you to make decisions that your future self will thank you for. It's doing what's right, not what's easy. It's saying no to distractions that feel good but cost you time. It's saying yes to habits that don't pay off instantly but will pay for life. You can't shortcut discipline. You can't outsource consistency. You either do the work or you don't. But if you decide to show up every single day with focus and faith, your life will shift in ways that feel miraculous. Because miracles are often disguised as consistent effort over time. Stop telling yourself that you need to feel ready. You don't need readiness, you need repetition. You don't need more motivation, you need mastery. You don't need inspiration, you need intention. You need to commit to the process even when you don't see the progress, because consistency guarantees that growth is happening even when results are invisible. Just because you can't see the fruit yet doesn't mean the roots aren't growing. Every disciplined day plants a seed. Every small action builds momentum. Every consistent step brings you closer to the version of yourself that can handle success with grace and confidence. There will always be people who rely on feelings. They'll say they want to change, but they never do. They'll start projects and never finish. They'll chase excitement instead of excellence. But not you. You are called to rise above the emotion and live by execution. You are called to move when others hesitate, to build when others complain, to persist when others quit, because you know that discipline is destiny. You understand that consistency doesn't just create results, it creates identity. It turns dreamers into doers and believers into achievers. When you make discipline your foundation, you no longer live at the mercy of moods. You live by mission. You stop reacting and start directing. You stop waiting and start walking. You stop hoping and start doing. That's the difference between living in potential and walking in purpose. Discipline is the bridge between both. It's the silent power that turns your prayers into performance, your words into works, your intentions into impact. So don't just wait for the perfect time. Don't just wait for the feeling. Choose discipline. Choose consistency. Choose to become the kind of person who acts on purpose, not on emotion. Because once you do, you'll realize consistency always wins. The hidden power of daily habits. Consistency doesn't start with massive change. It begins with small, intentional habits repeated daily. You don't become disciplined overnight. You train yourself into discipline. Every habit you build becomes a brick in the foundation of your destiny. And here's what most people miss. It's not the big moments that define your life. It's the small, quiet decisions you make every single day. The way you wake up, how you use your time, how you manage your focus, what you allow into your mind, those small choices create the rhythm of your results. Your life is always moving in the direction of your habits. If your habits are weak, your results will be inconsistent. But if your habits are strong, your progress will be unstoppable. Most people want transformation without training. They pray for elevation but resist discipline. They want to be used by God but don't want to be molded by process. But here's the truth. God never promotes potential. He promotes preparation. And the daily habit is how you prepare. You can't be trusted with more until you can be consistent with what you already have. If you want to master consistency, stop focusing on motivation and start focusing on systems. Systems are what keep you grounded when motivation runs out. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your habits. That's why habits matter more than hype. Every time you repeat a disciplined action, you reinforce the identity of a disciplined person. You're not just doing something different, you're becoming someone different. Your habits are shaping the kind of person you're turning into, whether you're aware of it or not. Think about this. The successful person and the unsuccessful person both have 24 hours in a day. The difference is not time, it's structure. One treats time as a treasure, the other treats it as a toy. The successful person has habits that align with purpose. The unsuccessful person has habits that align with comfort. If you study anyone who has achieved mastery in business, faith, fitness, or family, you'll find one common thread: consistency in the mundane. They've learned how to be faithful in the small things. They don't wait for big breakthroughs. They create them through daily obedience. Every habit you practice is either pulling you toward your future or dragging you back to your past. And most of the time, it's not the big, obvious habits that hold you back, it's the subtle ones. The habit of procrastination disguised as perfectionism. The habit of distraction disguised as multitasking. The habit of comfort disguised as rest. The habit of comparison disguised as inspiration. You've got to be honest with yourself about what's helping you grow and what's keeping you stuck. You can't conquer what you keep tolerating. Start by mastering the morning. The first hour of your day sets the tone for the rest of it. Before the world demands your attention, you must give direction to your spirit. Don't let the first thing you touch be your phone. Let it be your focus. Pray, plan, prepare. Don't just wake up to exist, wake up to execute. Small habits like gratitude, goal setting, reading, and reflection build mental and spiritual momentum. Because consistency doesn't just happen, it's scheduled. Discipline doesn't just show up, it's built through routine. You see, your habits are not just physical, they're spiritual. Every act of discipline trains your spirit to obey purpose over pleasure. Every time you choose order over chaos, focus over distraction, patience over impulse, you're aligning your life with divine order. That's why consistency is not just about doing things repeatedly, it's about doing the right things repeatedly. There's a difference between being busy and being productive. Being busy fills your time, being consistent fulfills your destiny. People often underestimate the power of repetition. They think it's just one day I skipped, or it's just one time I slacked off. But small breaks in discipline create large cracks in destiny. The danger of inconsistency is that it doesn't destroy you all at once, it erodes you slowly. It dulls your edge, lowers your standards, weakens your drive. Every time you skip what you said you'd do, you teach your mind that your word can't be trusted. But every time you keep your promise, even in private, you build unshakable confidence. Integrity is built in repetition. So if you want to change your life, start small but stay steady. Don't try to overhaul everything overnight. That's not transformation, that's burnout. Pick one habit that aligns with your highest vision and do it until it becomes part of who you are. Maybe it's waking up earlier, reading for 30 minutes, hitting the gym, saving a fixed amount, praying consistently, whatever it is, do it until it no longer feels like effort. Once it becomes automatic, add another. This is how consistency compounds. It's not about perfection, it's about progression. There will be days when you don't see results. Days when the grind feels repetitive, when the process feels slow, when your faith feels tested. But remember this, just because you can't see the change doesn't mean it's not happening. The seed doesn't sprout the day it's planted. Growth happens underground before it happens above ground. Consistency is that underground season. It's where you develop roots strong enough to sustain the fruit that's coming. Don't despise the days of repetition. They're the days that prepare you for elevation. Discipline doesn't make your life smaller. It makes your future bigger. Because every habit that strengthens your focus increases your capacity for greatness. You can't live an extraordinary life with ordinary habits. You can't live a high-value life with low-effort routines. The world will tell you to take it easy, to rest when you're tired, to go with the flow, but the flow of the world leads to mediocrity. If you want to rise above average, you must be willing to live above comfort. Consistency is not glamorous, but it's glorious in its reward. And here's the powerful truth. God honors consistency. He blesses faithfulness. He multiplies what you manage well. When you prove that you can be trusted with daily habits, He entrusts you with divine opportunities. The blessings you've been praying for are waiting for your consistency to catch up. Your miracle is not missing, your discipline is. God's not withholding your breakthrough. He's waiting for your follow-through. Because success is never a mystery, it's a manifestation of consistent obedience. So today, don't focus on how far you have to go. Focus on showing up one more time. Focus on doing the next right thing with excellence. Focus on making your habits match your hope. The process might not be easy, but it's necessary. And when you look back months from now, you'll see that every small decision added up. You'll see that your persistence produced progress. You'll see that your faithfulness attracted favor. The formula is simple. Habits form patterns. Patterns form character. And character determines destiny. You can't skip steps. You can't cheat growth. You've got to earn it through daily action. So keep planting, keep practicing, keep repeating. Because one day the world will call it success, but you'll know it was just consistency. Breaking the cycle of excuses, the inner battle for discipline. The hardest battle you'll ever fight is not with the world around you, it's with the voice inside you. That voice that whispers, you can do it later. That voice that convinces you that comfort is more important than calling. That voice that tells you to slow down when you should be stepping up. Every man and woman of greatness has had to silence that voice, not once, but every day. Because discipline isn't something you master once, it's a decision you make over and over again when your emotions are no longer in agreement. Excuses are the silent killers of destiny. They sound reasonable, but they're poison wrapped in logic. I'm too tired. I don't have time. I'll start when it feels right. I'm waiting for the perfect moment. Those are not reasons. Those are rationalizations. And every time you agree with one, you surrender a piece of your potential. The truth is, there's never a perfect moment to start. There's only the present moment, and that's the only one God blesses. You can't wait for motivation to move. You move and motivation catches up. Consistency begins when excuses end. But to end excuses, you've got to confront the real reason behind them: fear. Fear of failure, fear of discomfort, fear of being judged, fear of not being good enough. But fear is a liar. It's not there to stop you, it's there to test you. Every excuse is simply fear in disguise, and every time you choose action over excuse, you weaken that fear. Courage is not the absence of fear, it's obedience in the presence of it. That's why consistency is a spiritual battle. You're not just fighting laziness, you're fighting unbelief. Every time you skip the work, you're not just losing progress, you're reinforcing the belief that you can't follow through. That's why inconsistency becomes a cycle. You fail to act, then you feel guilt. That guilt turns into shame, and that shame convinces you that you're not capable of discipline, and so you stop trying. The only way to break that cycle is to take back authority over your own word. When you say you'll do something, do it, not for applause, not for recognition, but to rebuild trust with yourself. Because the moment you start keeping your word, your confidence returns. See, discipline isn't punishment. It's permission to access the life you've been praying for. God doesn't bless who you pretend to be. He blesses who you're preparing to become. But He can't bless inconsistency, because inconsistency destroys credibility. The person who can't be trusted with small commitments can't be trusted with big assignments. You can't ask heaven for overflow when you won't even manage what's already in your hands. So when life feels stuck, don't ask for more. Ask, have I been faithful with what I have? We live in a generation addicted to instant results. We want fast success, overnight fame, quick answers. But consistency demands patience. It's the process of sowing, watering, waiting, and believing, even when nothing seems to be happening. But understand this, your effort is never wasted. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you are building spiritual muscle. You may not see it yet, but the transformation is happening in silence. God develops people in private before He displays them in public. You've got to learn to love the grind. Not because it's easy, but because it's shaping you into the kind of person who can handle success. Everybody wants the blessing, but few want to become the person capable of sustaining it. That's why. Some people rise quickly and fall even faster. They built results, but not resilience. And resilience is born out of consistency. Every time you push through resistance, you're training your mind to obey your purpose instead of your feelings. That's mastery. When your feelings no longer control your actions, you're free. Excuses are comfortable, but comfort keeps you average. And average never inspired anybody. You can't impact lives by living at the level of your limitations. You've got to challenge yourself beyond what's convenient. That means waking up earlier when your body says 5 more minutes. That means showing up when you'd rather stay home. That means working on your dream when others are scrolling through distractions. It means doing what's hard until it becomes your new normal. Greatness is built in that uncomfortable space where your old habits die and your new identity is born. Here's the truth. Nobody is consistent because they feel like it. They're consistent because they decided to be. Feelings are unpredictable. Decisions create stability. Every champion you admire learned to act independent of emotion. They didn't wait to feel ready. They acted until readiness became their reality. The difference between the disciplined and the drifting is simple. One acts on commitment, the other acts on comfort. And you can't live both ways. You've got to choose comfort or calling. These are excellence, average or anointing. You must understand self-discipline is self-respect. When you force yourself to stay consistent, you're telling yourself that your goals are worth the effort. You're telling God that you value the purpose He placed inside you. You're telling the world that you're not a victim of circumstance, but a steward of destiny. Every time you push through resistance, you strengthen your spirit. You prove that your purpose is stronger than your pain. You prove that you can be trusted with growth. That's why discipline is divine. It's not about control, it's about creation. You are creating the version of yourself that matches your destiny. Most people want to escape pressure, but pressure is not your enemy. It's your evidence. It's proof that something powerful is being formed in you. Diamonds are made under pressure. Muscles are built under resistance. Faith grows under testing. Pressure is how God separates the casual from the committed. If you can stay consistent when it's hard, He'll trust you with harvest when it's easy. But if you quit under pressure, you forfeit the promise. So, Stop negotiating with excuses. Stop waiting for the right mood to move. The moment you feel the resistance, that's your cue to act. Because the longer you wait, the stronger the excuse becomes. Action weakens excuses. Hesitation strengthens them. Don't think about it, do it. Don't talk about it, be it. Don't pray for strength, and then avoid the situations that require it. Faith without works is dead, and discipline without action is delusion. Here's what happens when you stop making excuses. You begin to reclaim control over your destiny. Suddenly, you realize that you are not a slave to circumstances. You are the architect of your outcomes. You stop saying, I can't, and start saying, I will. You stop waiting for motivation and start creating momentum. You stop chasing perfection and start embracing progress. That's when your power returns. That's when your peace grows. That's when your consistency becomes unstoppable. So today, look yourself in the mirror and make a new covenant with your future. Tell yourself, I will not let excuses define me. I will not let comfort delay me. I will not let fear silence me. I will be consistent, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. You may not feel ready, but obedience comes before confidence. Show up tired. Show up uncertain. Show up scared. Just don't stop showing up. Because every time you do, you're breaking the cycle of inconsistency. You're building momentum that cannot be reversed. The battle for consistency is not won in a single day. It's won one choice at a time. Every small act of discipline is a victory over the old you. And one day, you'll look back and realize that the person who used to procrastinate, make excuses, and quit easily no longer exists. You'll see that you didn't just change your habits, you changed your identity. You became the kind of person who doesn't just dream, but does. Who doesn't just plan, but performs. Who doesn't just start, but finishes. That's the fruit of consistency, the power to live in alignment with who you were created to be. The rewards of relentless consistency, when discipline becomes destiny. When you make the decision to stay consistent, even when it hurts, even when no one's watching, even when the results seem invisible, you begin to align yourself with the laws of success that cannot be broken. See, consistency is not just a principle, it's a covenant. It's a spiritual agreement between your purpose and your persistence. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, you are writing your future one action at a time. And eventually those actions create evidence, undeniable evidence that you are no longer who you used to be. The reward of consistency is not just in the achievement, it's in the transformation. You start to realize that the real prize isn't the goal you reach, it's the person you become along the way. Because you can't stay consistent and remain the same. The same discipline that gets you to the goal will refine your thinking, elevate your standards, and strengthen your faith. What you're doing daily is shaping who you are permanently. That's why success is not an event, it's an identity forged through repetition, sacrifice, and obedience. When you become relentless in your consistency, doors begin to open that used to stay shut. Opportunities recognize the sound of effort. Blessings locate those who can handle responsibility. And favor flows toward those who have proven they won't waste it. You can't pray for abundance while practicing inconsistency. Heaven doesn't promote people who give up halfway. When God sees you showing up when it's hard, when you keep working, even when it feels like no one notices, He begins to trust you with more. Because He knows your faithfulness is not conditional on comfort, it's rooted in conviction. The truth is, most people never see the fruit of their labor because they stop watering their seed too soon. They expect the harvest without understanding the process. The process is slow, quiet, and often painful. But the process is sacred. It's where God does His deepest work in you. Consistency is not just about success, it's about sanctification. Every day you stay committed, your mindset matures. Your character deepens, your habits align. You start to live from intention, not impulse. You stop chasing what's temporary and start building what's timeless. When you operate with consistency, you no longer need validation. You're not moved by who claps for you or who doubts you, because your focus shifts from impression to progression. You begin to live with a peace that only purpose can produce. You realize that you're not in competition with anyone. Your only rival is your potential. And every day that you stay consistent, you close the gap between who you are and who you're meant to be. That's the true reward, not the applause, but the alignment. Consistency will bring you a confidence that motivation never could. Because motivation depends on mood, but consistency builds momentum. You don't have to wait to feel strong when you know you've been showing up. You don't need to prove your worth when your results speak for you. Every repetition, every late night, every early morning, it all compounds. What once took effort becomes automatic. What once drained you now empowers you. You stop striving and start flowing, because discipline becomes identity, and identity drives destiny. There's something powerful about becoming the kind of person who can trust their own effort. Most people doubt themselves because they've trained themselves not to follow through. But when you become consistent, that self-doubt begins to disappear. You start to walk differently. You start to speak with more authority. You carry yourself like someone who knows where they're going. You stop hoping for success, you expect it. Because deep down, you know you've earned it. And that quiet confidence, that unshakable faith, is the real wealth that consistency creates. Consistency is the bridge between your potential and your promise. It's what separates dreamers from doers. Everyone wants the reward, but few are willing to walk the road. That road is long, lonely, and often misunderstood. But those who stay on it become unstoppable. They become magnetic. They attract resources, relationships, and results, not because they chase them, but because consistency makes them visible to the right people. Your consistency is your calling card. It tells the world, you can count on me. And in a world full of talkers, that alone makes you rare. You must understand the world respects results, not excuses. And results come from repetition. When you master repetition, you master reality. Every great athlete, every entrepreneur, every leader you admire didn't get there by talent alone. They showed up on the days they didn't feel like it. They practiced when no one was watching. They refined their craft until excellence became their default. You can't expect greatness if you're inconsistent with effort. The universe rewards precision, not passivity. But consistency isn't just about success in business or goals. It's about faith, because true consistency is spiritual. It's your daily declaration that you trust the process even when you can't see progress. It's your way of saying, I believe that my obedience today will bear fruit tomorrow. That's why God honors the consistent, because consistency is proof of belief. Anyone can say they have faith, but the one who keeps working through the storm, that's faith in motion. That's what moves mountains. And when discipline becomes destiny, you reach a level of peace where nothing external can shake you. You stop being reactive. You stop living off of emotions. You start leading your life instead of chasing it. You become stable in a world that's unstable. People look at you and wonder how you stay calm, how you stay focused, how you keep producing. It's because consistency has become your character. And character is something no one can take from you. Here's the secret: consistency compounds quietly. It doesn't make noise. It doesn't announce itself. But one day, you wake up and realize you've become everything you once struggled to start. The habits that felt heavy now feel natural. The dreams that felt distant are now your reality. You didn't just change what you do, you changed who you are. That's the reward of relentless consistency. Transformation from the inside out. So, if you want to step into your destiny, don't look for shortcuts, look for systems. Don't chase intensity, chase consistency. Don't try to do everything once, do the right things every day. Greatness isn't about doing more. It's about doing what matters most over and over again until it becomes impossible to fail. That's what separates those who wish from those who win. Every season of discipline produces a season of reward, but you can't skip the process. You can't fast forward faithfulness. The reward will come, but it will come on time, not your time, but God's time. Your job is to stay consistent until His timing aligns with your preparation. Because when preparation meets opportunity, favor has no choice but to follow. That's how discipline turns into destiny. And when it happens, when you start walking in everything you prayed for, you'll know it wasn't luck, it wasn't chance, it wasn't coincidence, it was consistency. It was showing up when you didn't feel like it. It was trusting when you couldn't see it. It was refusing to quit when others gave up. It was the decision to be faithful to your purpose, one day at a time. That's what relentless consistency creates: a life of unstoppable momentum, unshakable confidence, and undeniable purpose. It doesn't just change your results, it changes your legacy. Because when discipline becomes destiny, you don't just achieve goals, you become the kind of person who turns goals into reality again and again. Consistency in 2025, building a future you can be proud of. If you want 2025 to look different from every year that came before it, you've got to do something most people won't do. Stay consistent long enough for your discipline to outlast your doubts. Because the truth is, the version of you that you dream about becoming will never show up through random bursts of motivation. That version of you is built through routine, through repetition, through the quiet commitment to show up day after day, even when nothing seems to be working. Consistency in 2025 is not optional, it's essential. Because we live in a world that's constantly trying to distract you from your purpose. You are being pulled in 1,000 directions by noise, comparison, temptation, and the illusion of comfort. But purpose doesn't thrive in chaos, it thrives in clarity. And clarity only comes when you focus your energy on what truly matters and cut out what doesn't. You can't build a future that honors God, that honors your gifts, that honors your destiny if you're living on autopilot. You have to make a conscious decision that this year you will not settle for inconsistency. You will not let comfort kill your calling. You will become the kind of person who finishes what you start. The thing about consistency is that it doesn't show results immediately, but it shows results inevitably. That's the part most people miss. They give up too soon because they confuse not seeing progress with not making progress. But there's a difference between stillness and stagnation. Just because it doesn't look like something is happening doesn't mean nothing is happening. Seeds grow underground before they ever break the surface. Faith works in silence before it shows up in sight. Every day you stay consistent, you are building something beneath the surface that one day will break through with undeniable proof that your effort was not wasted. If you want a future you can be proud of, you must fall in love with the process, not the praise. The process is what prepares you for the promise. It's what shapes your capacity. It's what makes you trustworthy with the blessings that are waiting for you. If you skip the process, you forfeit the promise. Because God will never give you what your discipline cannot sustain. You can pray for more all day long, but if your habits can't handle more, He's protecting you by holding it back until you're ready. That's why consistency matters. It prepares you for the weight of success. Consistency in 2025 means becoming intentional with your time, your thoughts, your energy, and your relationships. Every minute you waste on negativity is a minute stolen from your destiny. Every conversation that doesn't add to your growth subtracts from your purpose. Every day that you operate in distraction is a day delayed from your breakthrough. You can't afford to live like that anymore. This is the year to get serious. This is the year to separate yourself from anything that doesn't align with who you're becoming. And understand this consistency is not about perfection, it's about persistence. You will stumble, you will have days when you feel unmotivated, you will have moments when it feels like your effort isn't enough. But the ones who win aren't the ones who never fall, they're the ones who refuse to stay down. Every time you rise, you build resilience. Every time you keep going, you reinforce belief. And every time you choose faith over frustration, you strengthen the foundation of the future you're building. There's something powerful that happens when you start to see consistency not as a burden, but as a blessing. You stop saying, I have to do this, and start saying, I get to do this. You realize that every act of discipline is a declaration of gratitude. You're saying, God, I thank you for trusting me with this assignment. Because the truth is, purpose is heavy and only the consistent can carry it. Consistency proves that you're serious about what you've been called to do. It proves that you're ready for more. Now, let's talk about the future, not just 2025, but the future beyond that. Your future self is watching you right now. He's depending on you to stay consistent. He's waiting for you to build the habits, make the sacrifices, and develop the mindset that will make his life easier. The version of you 10 years from now will either thank you or resent you for the decisions you're making today. And that decision is being shaped every single morning when you wake up. When you choose to stay consistent, you are investing in that future version of yourself. You're laying bricks every day for the life you're building. But you can't build that life if you're constantly tearing down your own progress with inconsistency. Too many people take 2 steps forward and 3 steps back, not because they lack ability, but because they lack consistency. Every time you start and stop, you reset the process. Every time you let emotions override discipline, you weaken your foundation. It's time to make a decision that your commitment is stronger than your feelings. Feelings are temporary, but destiny is eternal. You've got to act from purpose, not from emotion. Consistency is a form of respect, respect for your calling, respect for your time, and respect for your potential. When you stay consistent, you're saying, I value what God put inside me too much to waste it. That's why the consistent eventually outrun the talented. Because talent fades when it's not trained, but consistency multiplies when it's maintained. You don't have to be the best, you just have to be the most faithful. You don't have to have all the answers, you just have to keep showing up long enough to find them. And when you do, when you stay consistent for long enough, something beautiful happens. You begin to live in alignment. You stop fighting yourself. Your actions match your values. Your habits match your vision. Your results match your prayers. You start walking with confidence, not because life got easier, but because you got stronger. That's when you know you've matured, when what used to shake you no longer moves you, because consistency has built your foundation on rock, not sand. 2025 is not the year to wait for opportunity. It's the year to build it. It's the year to discipline your distractions, silence your excuses, and commit to what matters most. The world doesn't need more dreamers, it needs more doers. The kingdom doesn't expand through intention, it expands through execution. And your execution depends on your consistency. So, make this declaration now. This is the year I stay consistent no matter what. When it's hard, I'll keep going. When it's quiet, I'll stay faithful. When no one believes, I'll still build. Because I'm not working for approval, I'm working for purpose. I'm not chasing perfection, I'm pursuing progress. And I will not stop until I become the person I was created to be. Consistency in 2025 is not just about success, it's about stewardship. It's about being a good steward of your time, your talent, and your purpose. When you manage what you have faithfully, more will be added to you. That's not motivation, that's a law. The law of increase rewards those who don't give up. So stay consistent, keep building, and remember, your future is counting on you to stay faithful today. Because one day, you'll look back and realize that the life you prayed for didn't come through miracles alone, it came through consistency. Every habit, every action, every moment of persistence was a seed sown into your destiny. And that harvest will be worth every single day you chose to stay disciplined when you could have quit. That's how you build a future you can be proud of, not by wishing, not by waiting, but by working with unwavering consistency until the life God promised becomes the life you're living.